Hey there, welcome to your very first video lecture. Let's go ahead and get started here. At the top of this paper, we have a few different formulas for finding simple interest. The first formula, it should look familiar, and that is going to be this one right here, and we will use this formula if we are trying to find the interest. Now, since this also is a math class, we want to be able to manipulate this equation, which luckily we give you these formulas. So on some questions, we may ask you to find the rate, and sometimes we may also ask you to find the time. Now, it's not so bad because as long as you remember that I is for principal, I is interest, P is principal, R for rate, and T for time, then all you got to do is figure out your numbers and plug them into that formula, this one, or of course this one. So let's go ahead and see this in action. I've broken these questions, the following questions, into 3 different tiers that I like to say proficient, mastery, and advanced. What I need you to do is make sure that you are proficient. Once you have completed and feel successful at the proficient stage, you can go ahead and feel like a master. Now, I do need everyone to be working on both these problems at all times. Now, if you are somewhat weaker, don't feel so bad. I do have a problem set for advanced. If you feel that you are struggling to become proficient, don't worry about the advanced yet. Let's get you proficient and then we'll move forward. So let's begin. Suppose you've got $5,500 deposited in a savings account that pays 1.15 simple interest. How much will you have in the account after 3 years? So the first thing I'm looking for is, well, how much will I have in the account after 3 years? I'm going to have to use this first equation because I'm calculating simple interest. So here we go. I'm not told how much interest I've gained, so I will go ahead and just write that out as I. The next thing, I will figure out what is my P. P stands for principal. Well, I'm starting off with $5,500. I'm going to warn you guys, I'm using a stylus that's not that great. I'm going to try my best. Last but not least, R, the rate, right? So we're going to multiply this by 1.15. Now remember, in order to convert a percent to a decimal, what we're going to do is we are going to take this number, we are going to divide it by 100, pop it in our calculator, and whatever decimal we're going to get is going to be what I use for rate. So go ahead, pause this video, put this division in your calculator. Sweet, you should have gotten the same thing as me. 115. Okay, so this is the number we are actually going to use for rate. So times 0.0115. Last but not least, we are going to multiply it by T for time. Remember, we're talking about time in years, and so here we go. We are doing 3 years. Last but not least, we can go ahead, pop this all in our calculator. What I want you to do, pause this video, see if you can multiply these 3 numbers in the calculator, get the same answer as me. And you should have gotten 189.75. But remember, this is actually I for interest. And so if I wanted to figure out, well, how much will he have in his account after 3 years, I'll take this number and I'll go ahead and I'm going to add it to 5,500. And ultimately, your final answer here will be $5,689.75. That is a 9. Boom. Sweet. I know I wrote all over problem 2, but we're going to go ahead and look at it in the next page. Okay, great. What I want you to do right now is, this is very interactive. I want you to go ahead, pause this video, see if you can work the second problem. Once you are finished, go ahead and replay the video and we will re-collaborate. So at this time, set up your equation, pause the video, see if you could do it by yourself. Ready, set, pause. Hey, if you're sneaking a peek, is this the equation you set up? We've got $1,000 for our principal, 0.02 will be our rate, and hey, check this one out. I actually use 0.5 because 0.5 is equivalent to half a year. All right, go ahead, repause this, throw it in your calculator, and we'll see you in a second. All right, sweet. You should have gotten $10 in interest. When you add 10 to 1,000, you will read that you will have $1,010 in your account after half a year. All right, this is a new kind of problem, at least for this class, and we are going to use one of these new formulas in order to find the missing values. So let's read the question first and figure out what do we need to find. An account that started with $10,000 has gained $500 in interest. You know, a lot of times students like to kind of annotate while they're reading. I think that's a good idea. So account that started with, aka the principal, right, has gained $500 in interest over 10 years. What is the rate? So that's what we're trying to find. I'm going to come back here. I'm going to see what my equation is. It's going to be R equals I over P times T. This is my first time ever using that equation, so I'm going to go ahead and write it out. It was R equals, what was it again? I divided by P times T. Okay, sweet. So let's go ahead and plug in what we know. Interest was 500. P was the principal, so 10,000. 1, 2, 3. And then last but not least, T for years, right? Here we go. So 10,000 years. All I have to do is plug this in my calculator. Now I will tell you a secret here. If you're not using a calculator that does order of operations, we've got to remember how to do them ourselves. So we're going to start off by multiplying the bottom, and that's because those values are grouped together. So if I was to go ahead and show all my work here, I will have 500 divided by, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 0 is kind of easy because you just add an extra one, so there should be 5 total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equals R. I'll go ahead, oh my gosh, and go ahead and throw this back in my calculator. 500 divided by 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And my final answer is R equals 0.05. Alright, what I want you to do is pause this video and see if you can go ahead and work on the next problem. Alright, if you're sneaking a peek, hopefully this is the equation or the formula that you started off with. So think about and go ahead and plug in your interest, your principal, and your rate. Hey, remember with rate, this is still true. We've got to turn that into a decimal. How do we turn a percent to a decimal? Well, take your percent, divide it by 100, and bam. There you go. That's your decimal we're going to use. Wow, you're probably not going to believe this, but when I did 600 times 0.05, I actually got 30. Anything divided by itself is just 1, and so if we were to rethink about this, how much time was the money in the account? It was in the account for 1 year. Well, here we are at the final bit of problems. So what we are looking at here is going to be simple interest, but what I call fractional time. That means it's not like a good year, 3 years, half a year. So what are we going to do? Well, let's see. We're trying to figure out interest. And so if my interest is my principal, 1,000, times my rate, 2%. Hey, look, we've done this a lot today. 2%, you should know by now, is that as a decimal, 0.02. And now, here's the thing. For time, we're actually going to use this number over 12. Now, think about it. When you did 1/2, you were technically doing 6 over 12. And so if we're doing 7 months, well, we're just talking about, well, how much money is going to be in there after 7/12 of a year. So, go ahead. Lucky trusty calculator. I'm seeing 1,000 times 0.02. Hey, take a look right here. When I put a fraction in my calculator, please use parentheses just to make sure that that fraction stays grouped together. And what I get is a not realistic number because it is 666 repeating. which we know is 2/3, and so how do you have 2/3 of a cent? Well, we just round up. So if we made $11.67 in interest, it says how much will the account have after 7 months? Well, we could just add that to 1,000 to make it $1,011.67 after 7 months. It's really not too bad, but some people don't care for fractions. So go ahead, pause this video, see if you can work on this very last problem all by yourself. What I want you to do is go ahead, pause this video, see if you could set it up yourself, and then, we'll see where we got from there. Hey, check this out. In order to do 16 months, you could do 16 over 12. You don't need to go ahead and try and do a mixed number. Or what is that called? Yeah, it's called a mixed number when you have like 1 and 4/12. Go ahead and just do 16 over 12. That'll make your life a whole lot easier. Sweet. Hopefully that was the same answer you got. And we're going to practice more in class. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed your very first video lecture.